So why does this matter to us here? Am I just here to depress you over breakfast? It matters because if you have a supply chain, you use energy, you have a reputation, you can see the list, any of that stuff. If you've got any of those things, this matters. And the decisions you take and will need to take will be shaped by that context. And I've highlighted risk, but that agenda is filled with opportunity. Seriously, there will be fortunes made by the individuals and the organizations and the investors who call this one right, who do not hang around, who recognize the tension between first mover advantage and being a laggard, who get caught up by regulation, by the stick, and don't take advantage of the carrot. There are huge opportunities. What's going to be happening? Decarbonizing. We've heard from Chris, he's absolutely right. We will be decarbonizing our economies to the extent we're able to do it. And we'll do that through price, through taxation, through regulation, whatever tool the government can use, they will do it. And it will reward those who get this thing right. The global economy has to get off its addiction to oil. That's going to happen. The market will be part of that, but we'll start. I mean, I don't know whether the Deepwater Horizon accident in the Gulf will be part of slowing down some of that extreme exploration. I doubt it somehow. There's a whole lot about revisiting how we use energy for production, for transport, all those kinds of things. Anybody with a long supply chain will need to look slightly hard at it. Am I buying my coffee from Uganda? For how long? People who buy our stuff will start to ask harder questions about the carbon, about the water, about the packaging. They will. They're starting, but they will really ask. Migration. A billion may be too round a number to be real, but what is that going to do to people? What is that going to do to economies, the economies where we buy from and we sell to? An aging population. What products and services? How's it going to get paid for? And food security. As a food exporting nation, surely that's an advantage here. Challenges? Well, from a sustainability point of view, I worry sometimes that we only deal with carbon. It's kind of easier in some ways. We can put a price on it, we can put it on a graph, we can make a law, and that ignores, I would argue, the social aspects which are important. Sustainable development itself is becoming jargon, a bit like partnership, one of the most abused words in English. It's been co-opted, and I think it's a shame because it's a really critical and fundamental issue. There's a big issue about incumbency. I'm a large business, I'm dealing in the liquid fuels business, I have no interest in seeing an electric car, thank you very much. I'm going to fight that one if I can, because I'm too much invested in a technology. Institutional short-termism. We're all driven by short-termism. I need those quarterly numbers. I've got a 5-year electoral term. I cannot think 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. The market doesn't let me. I haven't got the tools. I haven't got the analytical tools to be able to make those decisions. Too much risk. What's the price of carbon? I'm going to just stick to what I know. A genuine lack of understanding, I would argue, a need for real leadership, and just inevitable human nature and inertia. It happens. It's much easier not to unthink what's comfortable. Sustainability is the biggest business opportunity of the 21st century. I completely agree. It's absolutely the big one. Thomas Edison, great man. I'd put my money on sun and solar energy. What a source of power. I hope we don't have to wait till oil and coal run out before we tackle that. 1931. That was shortly before General Motors bought up and closed down the electric car, by the way, because they didn't like the idea of that one. For years, the statistics have registered an increasingly strong economic growth as victory over shortage, until it emerged that this growth was destroying more than it was creating. Who's this wise man? Some philosopher? An economist? Nicolas Sarkozy. It's happened. People are starting to recognize that this is a big one. So I suppose the questions for us are, what is the balance of risk and opportunity? Let's not focus on the risks, although we're very good at that. We have risk matrices, we have auditors who will hold our noses to them, and non-executive directors whose job it is precisely to ask that question. That's fine. But are you being as active in looking for the opportunity? Because there are many. There's the obvious things about being exposed to carbon, and you will need to know how much there is, and you will need to work out what you're going to do about it. How resilient is your business model and your strategy? Because there will be changes. And I suppose importantly, you're asking the right questions. Business as usual really isn't going to be an option. I don't think you can be too comfortable with that. And I actually don't mind anymore what people's motives are. I don't care whether you're, optimist or pessimist or capitalist or chemist. This is happening, will happen, and, fortune will reward the brave on this one. So just in case I got too upbeat towards the end there. This looks quite a big, robust vehicle, actually, this ship. But what it's heading to is kind of ugly. And I don't know what its chances are. I don't want to labour this analogy too much. The question, I suppose, is whether the people on the bridge have got a sense of what's coming and whether they're making the right decisions and giving the right instructions, or whether they're having another focus group. Or saying, no, we can risk this one, it's okay. We'll go straight through. I'm not so sure. Thanks very much indeed.